Do you ever feel like your workday is just one long losing battle for your own attention? You sit down to do something important, something that really matters, and suddenly you're drowning in a sea of emails, notifications, and hey, you got a second pings. Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea that might just be the antidote we're all looking for: deep work. To really get what deep work is all about, let's wind the clock back to the 1920s. We're going to meet someone who took this idea to a whole other level. The famous psychiatrist Carl Jung. He built this amazing stone tower. But here's the thing, it wasn't a vacation home. It was a fortress of focus, a place built specifically for his most profound thinking. He knew that to really make a dent in the universe, you can't just be busy. You have to be deeply, deeply focused. And wow. This really just spells out the massive shift we've all been through, right? We've gone from building actual physical walls to guarantee focus to literally tearing them down in the name of collaboration and serendipity. We've traded that deep solo concentration for constant connection. And believe me, that trade-off comes with a huge, huge cost.
So let's get right into the heart of the problem. Welcome to the age of distraction and a hard look at how we're really spending our workdays.
Okay, get ready for this because the numbers are, well, they're staggering. A major McKinsey study found that the average knowledge worker, that's probably you, spends over 60% of their week just handling emails, messages, and searching for info online. Just think about that for a second. More than half of our precious work time is spent reacting, not proactively creating anything of value.
So how do we start to fix this mess? Well, it all begins with understanding the two big forces that are constantly competing for your attention: deep work versus shallow work. All right, first up is deep work. This is the good stuff. This is the magic. It's when you're completely in the zone, distraction-free, pushing your brain to its absolute limits. This is where the breakthroughs happen. It's where you build skills that actually matter and where you create things that are valuable and, importantly, really hard for someone else to just copy.
And on the flip side, you've got its counterpart, shallow work. This is the stuff that fills up that 60% of the pie chart we just saw. Answering emails as they come in, hopping on another status meeting. All those little logistical tasks. It feels like work. It definitely makes you look busy, but it doesn't create much new value. And the crucial part? Pretty much anyone could do it. And I mean, this table just lays it all out, bare. It's pretty black and white, isn't it? On one side, you have high strain, high value work that's hard to replicate. And on the other, the exact opposite. Low strain, low value, easy to replicate. When you see it like this, the choice seems completely obvious, right? So why is it so incredibly hard to live in that first column? Well, that question leads us to a really crucial economic argument for all of this. It's called the deep work hypothesis. And here it is, the core idea. As our workplaces get noisier and more distracting, the actual ability to sit down and focus is becoming incredibly rare. And you know what happens when something useful becomes rare, right? Its value goes through the roof. This creates this massive, massive opportunity for anyone who is willing to train this skill. So, if we agreed that deep work is basically your 21st century superpower, how do you go about cultivating it? Let's look at someone who actually did it.
Let me introduce you to Jason Ben. His story might sound a little too familiar. He was working as a financial consultant, and he had this terrifying realization that pretty much his entire job could be automated away by a simple Excel script. He saw the writing on the wall. His career had a ceiling, and it was coming down on him fast. So what did he do? He made a really drastic choice. He quit his job, he locked himself in a room away from all the digital distractions, and he forced himself to learn an incredibly complex new skill: computer programming. See, this wasn't just about learning to code. It was about fundamentally retraining his brain to concentrate. And the result? He didn't just scrape by in a brutal coding boot camp. He graduated at the very top of his class. And the payoff for all that deep, focused work, it was immediate and it was tangible. In just 6 months, he more than doubled his salary, jumping from a replaceable $40,000 a year job to a highly sought-after $100,000 a year developer role. Jason's story is the perfect example of the two core abilities you absolutely have to thrive today. First, you need the ability to master hard things, and fast. Second, you need to be able to produce work at an elite level. We're talking both top quality and top speed. And the single engine that powers both of these abilities, you guessed it, deep work. But here's the thing.
This isn't just about your career. It's not just about your salary. There's a much more profound, more human reward that comes from building a life around this kind of depth. This whole idea is captured beautifully and simply in this one quote: "A deep life is a good life." This is about way more than just being productive. We're talking about genuine fulfillment. And there's real science to back this up. From a neurological perspective, what you choose to pay attention to literally constructs your reality. Psychologically, that deep immersion in a challenge creates that awesome feeling of flow, which psychologists tell us is a key ingredient for happiness. And from a philosophical view, the simple act of craftsmanship, of honing a skill and applying it with care, that's a source of meaning that has been celebrated for centuries. So, building a life around deep work, it's not just a career strategy. It's a blueprint for a more meaningful, more satisfying existence, which really only leaves one question left to ask. What's preventing you from building yours?